My name is Chris Claremont. You're watching Omni X-Men.
Chris, it's so great to see you. That makes it Tuesday. Welcome to Omni X-Men. This is the show where me and my buddy Justin from No Good Comics hang out and talk X-Men. What's up, man?
What's up, dude? We are back. It is Tuesday. We got some Omni X-Men and great issue to talk about tonight. 178. Cannot wait.
We're deep in the Claremont era, starting Omnibus 4 now, and we're into the John Romita Jr. era. Some beloved by some, frustrating for others, exciting to talk about and read. So definitely looking forward. How you doing, man? Looking forward to chatting about this.
Yeah, good. It feels like it's been a longer time away, or I don't. Maybe because the Monday show last week.
Because we did, one Monday.
Yeah, it's just threw everything.
Everything's out of whack now.
Yeah. But I'm pumped to talk this and getting ready for Thanksgiving and everything else. Has been crazy. So nice to have this little break here.
Sure. So we're excited because one of our good friends is joining us tonight. We got the one and only student of comics himself. We got Scott with us. What's up, Scott?
Hey, hello everybody.
What's Scott?
Good to see you, sir. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Yeah, thanks for having me back on. It's always fun.
Absolutely.
This X-Men book might have some legs. It might go somewhere.
Right. Will stop texting me while I'm doing a show. I was excited before we went live. You showed us your comic book that you're carrying around here. You're going to cons with. Let's see this.
Yeah. This is a Star Wrestling.
Star
so
Wrestling.
It's a little anthology of sci-fi pro wrestling stories. This is the 2 stories I've done so far in this one.
That's fantastic.
So it's just
nice
super kicks and aliens and all kinds of stuff.
That's cool. Are you drawing and writing this?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dude,
I'm the Jeff Smith of it, I guess.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
I'm no Jeff Smith, but
I was gonna say Terry Moore, but whatever.
Yeah. Him too. I love him too. Yeah.
So if you guys are not familiar with Scott, I have his YouTube channel and his Instagram finally now linked down below. Last second, I got it in there before we went live. I've been so busy using CLZ. I was telling Scott. 3,000 books loaded in 4 days. I haven't done much else.
Holy crap.
And so my brain was like, you should really take a break and talk comics instead of just scanning them over and over again.
I was going to say, if you're not totally sick of scanning them, based on our conversation backstage, I think you could do a little tutorial for people, because I think you had some tips and tricks there.
I'm definitely going to be chatting about this over the next few weeks, because I did a live stream on Saturday, just like trying it out. And the biggest thing I told Scott I learned was batch loading. If you're just starting off trying to put your whole collection of thousands of books in, just picking a series and then turning it to checklist mode and just tap all the issues you've got and then load them all in. You don't have to scan them one by one. You just batch load them all in. That's been a lifesaver.
Yeah, let me get a pen. Let me write this down.
Note this down. Note this.
I'll go back. I'll rewatch the replay.
JP's the man on that. He's the one that told me to do that. We got Magic Lasso in the chat. Hello. He says, "What does a turkey on the internet say?" Google. And you've got Jackson Roy Kirk turning and walking right back out the door. Thank you for saying hi, Jackson. I hope you hit the like button on the way out. What is up, Side Quest Comics? He said that's bad.
What's up, Eric?
So there you go. We got my man Adam makes stuff up, neighbor to the north. How you doing,
Adam?
Sir?
Adam just hit me up with a few comments on our show from last stream that he had some cool thoughts on. So Adam, thanks for catching up on the replay. Yeah,
love it, absolutely love it. And we got Scotty's right there. Look, hey,
I am here.
Hey. Man, it's everywhere.
We got Paul Big O. What is going on, man?
Hey, Paul.
It's actually just Mystique typing as me.
Right. Which better watch out for that. That's
tricky.
We got John Big Daddy Ross. He's going to be on a show coming up here soon. Good to see you, John.
All right.
Let's see. We got Candace in the chat. Our awesome friend Candace. What is going on? I hope you're doing well.
What's up, Candace?
Brother John's checking in, saying hello to all the brothers and sisters. Good to see you, sir.
Brother John.
We got Entropy Kevin in the chat. What's going on, Kev?
Kev.
Kenneth Bird.
Kev
and let's see. He says, thank you. I was just watching that a little bit ago. Then he's going to be ready, because those that don't know, you need to stick around to the end every episode. We do our trivia questions about our previous show, the one over on Justin's channel. And you can get entered into winning all of or a bunch of our goodies at the end of the season, like we always do. If you have never been to the show before, you want to subscribe to both Justin and myself because we bounce back and forth. Next week, we're going to be over on No Good Comics channel, and we're going to be asking trivia about tonight's show with Scott. So make sure you join us next week for that when we discuss issue 179. So yeah, tonight's at issue 178. But before we get going, we usually do a little X-Men lightning round questions for Scott. We got 10 lightning round questions. Now these are only yes or no questions, Scott. So
wow.
Room here.
Oh boy.
No playing about, no nothing.
This is how you get in trouble.
This is how
can't defend any answers.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do, is to really just make trouble.
Oh, God. Okay.
All right. So let me get my slide, my setup here going for that. Okay.
Jordan Peele meme sweating. Jordan Peele sweating meme.
Let's see here. I'm going to start off with okay. Is it better to join the X-Men than the Justice League?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. I mean, Justice League has a pretty cool outer space base. I'm just going to say.
I mean, since I can't filibuster, since I can't expound on this, all I'm left with is yes.
What's up, Bobby? How you doing?
Believe me, I could qualify that.
Bobby says just pass.
Yes.
I don't want to incriminate myself. Is Magneto a villain?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, there. Nice. I love it. Portland's handsomest comic fan tonight. There he is.
Shucks. Thanks, Damien.
Thanks, Damien, for coming by. No, the Justice League aren't hunted. Sorry, Jack, I can't click. There it is. We got Todd Christian in the chat too. What's up, Todd?
What's up, Todd?
All right. Let's see. I asked this one last week. It made me laugh. Does Gambit have a side piece?
Oh man, the mind races.
Actually, you know what? Person he is.
No,
and you got to wonder at this stage how loyal of a guy is, right?
I'm gonna say no.
No side piece. All right.
I'm gonna say no. Yeah.
You can argue with our last guest, who was pretty consistently. It was like yes, and he even said, which my second question was, because he said yes. I said, do you think Rogue is okay with it? And he said, yeah, she's probably cool with it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Well, see, to me, that implies, well, yeah, see, again, you can have
is it a side piece if they know about it, you're saying?
If you're in an open relationship, then it's just another person that you're with. So then that's not it's not a Gumar. I know you haven't watched The Sopranos, but
I haven't.
Ryan, that'll mean something to Ryan if he sees this.
Ryan's gonna be like, yeah. He'll never watch this show. It's got.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Is Cyclops the best X-Men team leader?
Oh, this is where I get in trouble.
He's gonna either make friends or break friends.
I will say no. Since you said best, I'm just gonna lean on best.
Oh, all right.
You define it, right? It's personal.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I'll just say no. But I am also I'm not as anti Cyclops as many are. And I'm sure that's baked into like little Scott reading a comic with a guy named Scott in it as the leader of the team.
That makes complete
imprinting
sense
on me very hard. So
I get it.
Yeah.
Sadly, I was unable to name my daughters Aurora, so that did not work out.
Oh yeah, they might be okay with that. But
yeah. What's up, Daryl? My wife was like, "That's cultural appropriation, John."
Yeah.
Are the X-Men better on Earth than in space?
Oh man, this is wow. See that one? That's a whole show.
Technically, it's been several seasons of it on this channel.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'll say on Earth, but like what I struggle with is like so many of the movies. I feel like their biggest failing is that they just kept leaning into like the Earthbound problems.
Sure.
And it just got boring, and then the one spacey one wasn't very good in my opinion. But like when they're in space, it's sick, it's awesome. So
yeah, but everyone has their preference, I think, of where they prefer the X-Men to be, more of an Avengers or more of a Guardians of the Galaxy, because they have a foot in each plane, if you will.
Totally.
Okay, is it bad having a danger room at a school?
No, it's fine. Totally fine.
It's called the Danger Room.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, you
It's
know
not
what you're
like
getting
the
into.
holodeck or the
Yeah.
training room. They call it the Danger Room.
In a way, that's more honest than the holodeck isn't called potentially releasing a malevolent photonic being into the world.
It's Riker's play area.
Yeah. Well, there's a mop in the corner. And it's fine.
Yeah, right. Are redheads dangerous?
Probably. Yeah, they probably are. It's not a yes or no, but
I'll consider it an affirmative.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't want to be too definitive, but I don't want to hide what my answer is.
What is up, Terry? What's going on, Terry? What's going on, man?
Hey.
Good to see you, sir. It's been a hot minute. Hope you're doing well. At least it's not called the Death Room. I mean, that's
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But you have to put up a sign on the door that says safe space. Oh my goodness. I get 2 left. Could Wolverine defeat Spider-Man?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think he could.
I don't see Peter Parker would always hold back, and I think
Exactly.
definitely I don't think Wolverine ever does.
Well, the Wolverine would end up actually killing his girlfriend or a buddy of his or something. It'd be something like that, right?
It'd be bad no matter what.
See, I took this question as in a game of chess. So
Oh,
sure.
Well,
I
in
thought the
that
answer was
case,
clearly no.
It's wizard's chess.
I think actually Wolverine's probably better at chess than you think, though.
Think so?
He's been around a while, so.
He would
Once he starts drinking,
is he
though,
like
I
the
don't know.
Wookiee? He's gonna flip the board over and rip your arms off.
Yeah, or in that. Well, yeah, or if it's in that drinking contest that they have in Raiders of the Lost Ark, that
Okay,
then
last
definitely
question.
Wolverine wins. Yeah.
Relating to last season, is Xavier a jerk?
Oh yeah, that guy.
No
Room in
hesitation. I
the
love
school. Even though I'm cool with that.
Oh my
He's
goodness.
still-
I love it.
He's pretty. I think that's like a documented fact. I think that's the thing. It's fine to have different views on Scott Summers, but Professor Xavier kind of sucks.
I feel like that's fair, but I
Yeah.
was shocked how many people were stunned the first time I
Yeah.
did my storm ranking or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I put Xavier just quickly as a 10. The first time I was like, he's a 10.
Oh, congratulations! Finally on getting
Yeah.
Storm for that. By the way,
Yeah,
I was really following this
my
saga.
labors have been completed. Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
the
people-
second best
People
X-Men
were mad at me.
storyline.
People were like, "How dare you put Xavier at a 10?" I'm unfollow, unsubscribe.
When does he do anything in the field, though? I mean,
You're getting like
building
hate
a
mail.
team.
I
He
am.
mostly pays the bills.
I'm
Like,
bald hating, I guess. I don't know.
he's CFO sometimes,
Yeah.
like counselor,
Well, I've
but he
got
kind of is a
questions
bad
about this
counselor.
week. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, Scott. You survived the gauntlet there. I appreciate you
Yeah.
being willing to play around like that with us.
Nice job.
Let's dive into this week's issue. We are talking about issue 178, art by John Romita Jr., of course, writing by Chris Claremont. We were discussing before we went live about I try to include the date for you all, the February 84, but we were mentioning before we went live that that's, of course, these are cover dates. Release dates can be varying a little bit, and I don't want people to get confused. Obviously, this would be on the shelf probably December of 83 somewhere, but the date on the cover would be just the publication date that they give you, because as Scott was telling me, that was often the date that newsstands and Circle K's or whatever, spinner racks, they would be pulling the books off.
Yeah, I believe that was so it's like easy to see. Oh, today is the day, and get rid of it. That's my understanding for a long time.
So I'm
back in the day.
All right, so we got this cover here. I'm curious the thoughts here. This is an interesting cover, Justin. Would this make you want to buy it off this newsstand? Are you going to grab this book?
Yes. Yeah, I think ultimately this is a noisy cover. And I mean, it's got Storm right on the front, so that's probably going to be the automatic yes already for me. But it is definitely noisy. I will say, now that I've read the issue, I have much more of appreciation for the cover. I think the one thing that is like my favorite part out of all of it is like just the zoom in of the Banff from Nightcrawler coming into play. And I appreciate that we got some Amanda Sefton on an X-Men cover. I feel like that
makes it key, right?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't know
if she's been on an X-Men cover before.
Right. No, I'll have to go back to look at, what was it, Annual 4, I think, with
first
Dr.
appearance
Strange.
of Amanda Sefton on a cover.
Yeah, like I don't know. So yeah, so that's cool. And you know, she's doing some wicked sorcery there. So
I will say I legitimately had not noticed her until you mentioned it.
That's really?
Yeah. That's how busy this cover is for me.
It is very busy.
I did not even notice.
I just noticed it while we were looking, like right before you said. I was like, oh, it's Amanda, and then you're like, Amanda, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even clock that one first time when I read it.
Yeah. Like that's really, you know, and I guess the you know, the solid green background is a little random, but I guess it's needed since it's so noisy otherwise. So
right,
you know,
need something cool for all those hot colors they got going.
Yeah. But I will say too, like, you know, it certainly matches what we get into here. So I do appreciate, you know, appreciate it from that aspect. It's not, you know, one of those fake out covers or whatever. So
Scott, what are your thoughts on this cover? How do you feel about issue 178?
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, I think it is a little messy or a little busy, maybe. You know, something you know, as someone who draws, like the composition of like just Storm, the way she's just kind of like got her butt up in the air out there, you know, just at the top of the frame.
Don't shame my favorite part of this cover.
No, it's, you know, it's not bad, but just the angle, kind of the poses. It's. I mean, I can see what, you know, Romita was going for, fitting all the pieces in, but I do appreciate the storytelling of it, and like, you know, like Justin was saying, like that's what happens in the book.
Sure.
And you know, not to get an old man about it, but you know, we just don't see that as much anymore, and it's kind of cool to see the storytelling happening on the cover. Though Storm is not wearing that outfit in the battle.
I mean, that's true.
That is true.
So I win a no prize for that.
Ryan says he likes the green background, always a winning. When Jackson Roy Kirk thought it was Dazzler, Ryan was not happy about that. He got upset. We got Amanda Hug and Kiss in the chat. Sorry, Bobby. What's up, going, Bobby? Amanda Hug and Kiss. Sorry, I didn't mean to click Candace's name on that one. We got Strange. What's going on? Good to see you, sir. How you doing? So I will say I don't like this cover a ton. Obviously, it has one really great asset that is phenomenal, but it's so busy. The perspective is so far off. Like, I just think we're partly looking down, but partly looking from the side. It's a weird angle. So I'm not a big fan of it. But that being said, now that it's got Amanda on it, maybe my value of it needs to go way higher. Because that's always a nice thing to have more Amanda Sefton. But let's check in on the inside, the artwork here, and see what we got. This issue starts right where we left off last time. We have Colossus frozen. He has been defeated by the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. They basically did what happened to the T-1000. The liquid nitrogen heated up, and then the liquid nitrogen instantly froze him solid. Kitty freaks out. She's like, what's going on? I don't know what I get. This is horrible. I got to try to concentrate to Professor Xavier, and all the way across the state to where the Xavier is sitting by the fire, and he's reading his mail, which I have huge problems with.
Yeah.
I have questions. I have so many questions.
Wait, John, you don't send pictures of you and your wife in bed like that to your mentors?
Firstly, Scott's barely been gone, and he's already sending honeymoon mail to Professor Xavier.
Power move.
Bad choice. That's a bad choice. Second, he's sending a boudoir picture, like a in bed with his lady picture.
He's
Third,
jealous.
This is where it gets.
Oh, by the way, I sent you guys both the mail, so just.
My question is, who took the photo?
Yes.
Oh my god!
This is 1984. There weren't a lot of
selfie sticks.
Camera. Yeah. I don't see any of them holding a little like button thing.
Oh man, yeah.
I have
this
so
mystery
many
gets
questions.
deeper and deeper.
Yes, there it is. There it is. That's the question I wanted you all to discover. That's the question. That's the question. Yeah. I had to blow it up because I want Scott's like in bed, like, "Hey, Professor Xavier." I have so many problems.
Yeah, he's got no shirt on.
So many problems. And look at poor Madeline. She's like hiding under the cover. She's like, Scott made me do this. I'm very uncomfortable with this whole thing. I don't know why Scott made me take this picture. I barely know Professor Xavier at this point. Like, I'm sending this to some bald guy that we don't know.
Hear me out. It looks like Madeline is like, yeah, like you said, like she's like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, this is my best guess is Scott rigged up some kind of like Rube Goldberg contraption where his optic blasts get focused into just the right size to just pop the shutter on the camera.
I have so many questions, right?
I still have questions, but like I think that's because he's just like, and then he's click. That's what he did. He just,
Chet.
One little shot. He goes, it bounces off of 7 things.
She's under the covers, Chet.
Her arms are under the covers, sure.
She's terrifying. She's
Professor Xavier is projecting what he wants to see. That's the power. He videotaped the entire encounter. Okay. So Justin, obviously exciting that we get right back to where we left off. What are your thoughts on these first couple pages?
Yeah, I'm so glad that you highlighted these images because that definitely had me doing a double take for sure. I have to say the opening splash page I was a little let down on. I just feel like the artwork could be better, and this is where. Look, I'm very open to seeing what John Romita has to offer in this era, and there's been stuff in the past so far in these few issues that I have liked, and there have been things that I haven't liked as much. So I'm of mixed feelings, and as we get more into this issue, I'll have some nicer things to say. But like this splash page for me, I'm just not a fan of like how Kitty looks there, how she's drawn there, and it's just not the wow factor that I feel like it could have been, obviously if it were, Byrne or somebody. But again, it's also partially me just coming off of, being used to some of these, massive names. And not to say that John Romita is not a massive name, but just, everything we've been up
at the time, he was not, right?
Right. It's just so turning that first page was a little bit of a letdown for me, but, it's still story-wise, it's great. Obviously we're picking up right where we left off. We're not sure what's going to happen to Colossus. They're being under attack by the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And then, the picture that's great. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's
really, really great.
Well, Scott, what about you as far as where we left off and how we jump back in here? Or what are your feelings on this the beginning of the issue?
So I did actually read the previous issue just to get like when I saw that it was a in media res situation. I went back and it actually what you're talking about with the art. The previous issue, John was inked by his dad. So John Romita inked it, I believe.
His dad inked.
His dad inked it. Yeah. So
wow.
In this issue. Yeah, in this issue, it's Bob Wyacek, and I feel like the last issue it looked a lot like John Romita Sr. And it had like this kind of weight
touching up
to
his
it.
son's homework. He's
well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Inker can mean a lot of things, especially in this era, like through the Bronze Age, but obviously like further back. So I think that like John Romita, especially at this point, and John Romita Jr., and especially at this point and going into the 90s, the inker really can like help or hurt him. He's definitely someone who I think as a penciler, the inker can have a big impact. Yeah.
Right. And I like Bob Wyacek from with the Paul Smith stuff.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of that stuff. But I definitely could see that if they're not, I mean, they're clearly new working with each other at this time. So might not have clashed well. Yeah.
But I think that really that really highlights that. So with Klaus Janson on that Man Without Fear run, like he looked awesome.
I mean, Klaus as an inker obviously was doing a lot more than just tracing over what Miller had done. He was really drawing a lot of those issues. And
Klaus, I think, because JR did that miniseries, and I believe Klaus inked JR on that.
Oh, did he?
Too. I think so. Oh. I could be wrong. Maybe he inked himself or it was a different inker, but I thought that Klaus Janson inked him at one point, and it looked pretty awesome. So but like overall, I think this is I think like despite maybe the qualities of it, I do think it's pretty impactful of like Frozen Colossus, and you're like, that's very old school superheroes of like Kitty's scared. There's you're like something happened, but you kind of like they give you enough to propel you to the next part, and then Professor Xavier being a weirdo looking at people's. I also clocked one thing on this too was it's confusing. So Professor X is communicating with his thoughts to Kitty, but he's also like thinking to himself.
Right.
I was really, how does that work? Like he's like when he's thinking. He's like talking and thinking because he's like thinking to himself, but he's using his brain to communicate.
Right.
That's
Does he
weird to me.
accidentally send some messages to the
Yeah.
person when he didn't mean
Yeah,
to?
does Kitty
like,
accidentally see that photo? Is she like, what was going on?
Yeah,
What are you looking at?
Oh, God.
I mean, yeah, no visuals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, I really liked the last issue with what Romita did in that issue, and I didn't have any real problems. In this one, there's an inconsistency for sure. So I look at that picture of Xavier thinking, and he looks like he's starting to get like a balloon head. Like his head looks enormous.
There's a few big head, small face.
Yeah, and I think that so that inconsistency is frustrating to me. I don't have a problem with the splash here at the beginning. It works for me well enough. There are later issues, obviously, that we will highlight.
Oh yeah, Damien points out a good the Bob Layton point there. I think that might have been what I was thinking of later too.
First became known inked by Layton. Okay.
Yeah, like Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
Iron Man stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They don't show Chuck putting that into his side coat pocket. There you go.
You know he did. You know he did.
So we jump to the next page where he's basically Xavier's left trying to decide what to do. He decides to call Storm and Wolverine into action, who are practicing in the danger room, but to leave Rogue on the sidelines. He's worried that if this is a Brotherhood of Evil Mutants thing, that maybe Rogue is still on the fence about her loyalties because she just recently joined the X-Men from that group. And so as a result, he's uncertain about where she is with this whole process. In the danger room, Storm is testing out her abilities. She's got a sort of blend of her older costume and her new look, and she's trying her speed flying through the danger room. Wolverine trying to be able to cut and only cut part of her costume, her cape, when she flies by. He seems to think it's very simple and that she should go faster. And he's like, well, that could make it dangerous. And she thinks that, well, risk is part of the fun, is what she said.
Yeah.
But then they get called to their meeting, and I just always love when Wolverine has to be carried like luggage. And she flies off carrying Wolverine and is sort of left alone. And then when he's trying to tell Kitty what the plan is, he gets a massive block or headache and is uncertain what's going on, but feels like there's something blocking his ability. He doesn't want to let Rogue know what's going on, and she just basically goes to fetch him some aspirin, and that's basically it. So we're in the midst of the evolution of Storm here, Scott. I was curious what your thoughts are on this process where she's kind of re-identifying herself. What are your feelings on the evolution of Storm here?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit since I kind of went back to this era. Like, I've definitely read all those Morlocks issues a while ago. I didn't keep up with them. The knife fight with Callisto's rules and like all that was stuff. So I kind of I only have vague recollections of like what was really going on with her, but it brought back to me that it's interesting seeing somebody. I mean, she was literally like, I was on the episode where she like came back, I believe, with the space whales and all that. And so I remember like we talked about that. And I think it's a fascinating evolution of like you're really tearing this character down, building them up to be totally different, but also they're on this trajectory of leadership still.
Right.
So it's kind of cool. It's not like woe is me the whole time, even though she's like building back up. It's kind of a like, yeah, let's do this. Let's go. Let's
and Claremont draws it out. It's like it's not anything that happens instantly. It's definitely a slow burn kind of a thing here.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, punk rock farm is one of the coolest things we ever had.
What's up, Warlord? Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Bobby says it's the danger room because of secondhand smoke.
Yeah.
There's a problem there. Adam says no capes. And
he's also drinking sorry if I'm getting ahead of us, but he has a 6-pack there.
Yeah.
He definitely is not taking the training seriously. Justin, what are your thoughts on Logan here? Yeah, smoking and drinking in the danger room. Is he the problem? Is he the problem?
Classic.
Am I the drama?
Logan. Classic Logan.
Yeah.
I expect nothing less. That was definitely. I caught that at the corner of my eye as I was going through this, and I'm like, oh, he's just got a 6-pack waiting there. Are those empty already, or is he?
I mean, could be.
After,
Yeah.
And then he's lighting up. I will say, seeing him light up, I love the lighting effects. I always appreciate that
in the color work for sure.
Yeah. Always well done. Yeah, some interesting scenes. So one of the things that stood out to me within these panels that I really appreciate, and again brings me back to just why I love what Claremont has done throughout all this, is his Wolverine's reference to Yukio from the train scene, and he said, when she says, I want to take life on or whatever, and he's like, yeah, that's what Yukio used to say, only it was, whenever a train would come at us. Two things. One, I love that they reference that, and so obviously for any of the readers that have read in the these past couple issues can appreciate that. Second, I appreciate that they didn't even give you a highlight of, check out issue whatever, like they just put it in there, which I don't know, just means even more to me to know that the writer is just like, yeah, throw this in there,
the people that know,
for the people that know, yeah, they're gonna appreciate it, and for this era especially, like, just I appreciate that. So yeah, I like that little bit was in there, and then just seeing Wolverine with his arms folded, as you highlighted, like his face and his demeanor, like everything, he's just so like not happy at all that this is the way he's got to travel, but he does.
So we have a cat at my house now. It's a new thing, and my youngest loves to pick her up and carry her, and that's how she looks. The cat, that's how the cat looks whenever you pick her up. It's like, God dang it, they got me.
She is not happy.
It is disappointing. It's demeaning. It's demeaning for him.
Right?
He's a short king though, and I think that's what you want if you're a short king.
I just love
it's for Storm to pick you up like a little baby and fly you around.
I would not complain.
I know. John's like, man, Logan's so ungrateful.
I'll tuck in. I'm 6'2". I'll tuck in.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
I also noticed we got one big head down in the corner from Xavier, and then one really well drawn, more Lex Luthor-ish head next to it. So we get both Xaviers here.
That down angle's tough, I will say, as someone who draws heads.
When you get up above the dome, it's shiny.
Yeah, you get all like, what is it? How big is the skull? I don't even know anymore. Yeah,
this is a great point that we don't really think about the weight of his adamantium skeleton, and Storm's just I got you, fam.
I guess the wind's pushing her too, right? So she's just kind of facilitating the.
I just chalked it up to Storm being a boss. So
that's how I mean,
that's really what.
I had no.
She does have an outfit that shows off her guns now. So
right.
All right. So the next page, we've got Kitty Pryde, kind of sad and upset, trying to figure out what to do, and then she remembers, like, hey, I read an article.
I love this. This is one of my favorite things about this
Reed
issue.
Richards has a portable, high-intensity heat source he designed to thaw organic matter without causing any human harm.
Guy's always thinking ahead.
I should go get that. So she dashes down to call the FF and be like, hey, guys, I need help, from a local payphone. The robotic answering lady is like, sorry, they're not in right now. And she's like, poop, I'm just going to have to go and steal it. Hops in a cab, scares the crap out of this poor guy who's like, I'm just like, he's just like, I'll take you, whatever, I'll just take you. And they book off towards the Baxter building. Then we cut to like basically the Lower East Side of New York, and a seemingly deceased homeless person, and the Marauders are there, and they've basically stumbled across this woman, and Mask is going to do his thing where he sort of like changes her appearance with his powers. And I was feeling like Ryan Reynolds here, like, why? Like, what are you doing? What are the Morlocks doing in this? Like, what is their plan here? What are they thinking? So Justin, what's Callisto's master plan here? I don't get it anymore.
This is the seeds, right? That we talk about Claremont sprinkling. So my thought on this scene was that he is they're gonna use her and trick not Callisto, Caliban, and showing a young girl who was either hurt or killed, and say that this is Kitty Pryde, in order to get him even more on board with helping Callisto with her, because she has her own
that's like telenovela planning,
dude. That's where I'm like, either that or I don't know. That was my only thought process there, but. I just know, based on what we saw the last time we saw Callisto and them, because they mentioned Kitty at the end there.
I like this. If that's what happened,
Pretty Kitty.
I legitimately don't remember this portion. So I was I don't know what Callisto is doing.
It's only because she says Pretty Kitty in that last panel. So it made me think of the scheming that was going on in the last issue.
I love that.
So
some solid foreshadowing.
I love that.
Yeah. Or I'm way wrong, so I don't
right.
Claremont's like, no, they were just practicing their skills.
Scott, I love that the cab driver's like, okay, I'll take you. Like,
yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? If somebody phases into your
I mean,
cab,
I know it's New York and it's like
Yeah.
crazy people get in your cabs, but like, hey, he really went for it.
He had
right?
no choice.
Yeah.
She's not putting a gun on him. She's clearly
No.
like incorporeal. Like I don't. It just for me, I love the cabbie. It was my favorite, one of my favorite characters in this issue.
He thinks it's cool. He says they ain't never gonna believe that this back in the garage. Like
he's gonna have stories. Yeah.
It's New York, I guess. Like, you know, every once in a while, Iron Man gets in your cab. Like, it just happens. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Any thoughts on the evil Morlock plan here?
Well, it certainly explains a lot of the end of this issue, which I was gonna.
Yes.
Now I'm like disappointed. I thought I was on a very significant issue of the comic, and maybe it's less so.
We'll see.
Of course, reading any modern issue, I guess you would know. But I did want to. I know it's not Omni Fantastic Four, but just if people were curious,
do it.
Why Reed and Sue aren't there? I actually did read a couple issues from around this time.
I love it.
Of FF. It's John Byrne's FF, and because it was really great too. I was like, this is fun to know. So this was a point where Reed and Sue were living under fake names. Reed and Sue Benjamin, adorable, right? And then they were living in Bellport, Connecticut. Pretty sure it's a made-up place. Maybe not. If it's not, I think Damien's from the Northeast, so maybe he knows if Bellport's a real place. But they wanted to give Franklin a normal life, and then also Ben and Johnny were off in California. Johnny was racing a car, got in a big car wreck, but then of course it wasn't really a car wreck. He was abducted by this guy named the Messiah, who wanted to use Johnny's heat powers to restart the expansion of the Earth, because we're gonna overpopulate the Earth if it doesn't keep expanding.
One of those.
So yeah, so you know, just normal stuff. That's why they're not there.
What issue? What issue did you say it was for Fantastic
I
Four?
want to say it was like 280, 260,
Okay.
260 maybe, somewhere around there. It's also like right before that was the trial of Reed Richards, where he got tried by all the aliens, including Lilandra, because he saved Galactus's life, and we learned who Galactus really is. So. But that's a different show. That's my Omni Fantastic Four show coming soon.
Links are in the description.
Yeah, links in the description.
Oh, we got some great comments here. Jackson McCurk saying we need Callisto channeling Mr. Burns.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, I do agree, Candace. That is a gnarly masks.
Very disturbing.
Yeah, kind of nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you do need that superhero insurance for your local establishments. Candace is like, you can't live anywhere in the city without that. You gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
Scott is always breaking it down, and that's why you guys should be following him on Instagram and following him on YouTube. And when that book is for sale, I want links, because we're going to be pumping that. Out so that people can buy your comic. So
yes, I will.
Otherwise, we'll have to find you at shows. Jamie says, looking over these pages, I can see that JRJR does pretty good panel-to-panel storytelling without being a strong draftsman.
Yeah.
And
no, he definitely has that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been my feeling in general, is that the action moves well. You don't get confused between panels. The challenge seems to be certain faces and certain angles are difficult for him, and those, when they go wrong, go wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll get a few of those here, I think. Pretty
and he's
soon.
got a deadline, so it's like sometimes you just got to let it go wrong.
Right. So we jump to Lincoln Center, where Nightcrawler and Amanda were supposed to be going to the opera, but instead they are macking with that public display of affection right there in the Lincoln Center fountain, getting it on. And then she's like, "Oh, we should go inside." And then he's like, "No, we shouldn't stop." And then she's like, "Wait, we're in public here. The plaza's empty though. Everybody's gone to the show. I guess we missed things." So Nightcrawler trying to get some like action in the middle of Lincoln Plaza or Lincoln Center. And then all of a sudden, like often happens to the X-Men, a giant pink dragon appears and starts blasting things. And Nightcrawler goes into protection mode, bamfs Amanda away, only to be then attacked by Avalanche, who's just taking the Earth and trying to basically like slam them with it. He has to bamf again, and they're just running for their lives, trying to figure out what is going on. Another Amanda Sefton date ruined. Justin, it's impressive that she sticks by him through this stuff.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, you're getting attacked by pink fire dragons. I love how they always manage to use pink and purple in the X-Men series.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
I can't get enough of it.
Between the dragon and the Bamf, action going on, the
Sentinels always in purple.
Yeah, yeah.
Shouts to Glynis Wein. Shouts to Glynis Wein for that.
Yes, yeah. So I like. I'm kind of surprised that Nightcrawler is like this. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I mean, I know he's been kind of showing this friskiness of himself. But they certainly show it a fair amount of him really trying to put the moves on over these past probably 15 issues or so.
He's going full PDA here, in the middle of Lincoln Center. Let's just do it. He's wearing a trench coat. I mean, maybe he's gonna do the whole Flasher thing. I don't know.
So that I was gonna say the trench coat reminds me of Beast back in was it one the one with Banshee on the
one with Banshee being the carnival collar. Yep.
Yeah, 120, I think.
Right before they fly across the earth in the wagon.
Yeah. 111. I don't know. Either way, yeah, it's great issue. Anyways, yeah, that's really all I have for this.
Scott, any thoughts here on Nightcrawler's romantic interlude being interrupted? Because it seems to happen to a lot of their dates.
Yeah, I only vaguely remember this character, and when I was doing the research,
I can hook you up if you want.
Yeah, when I was doing the research, I thought they were kind of stepbrother and sister.
So yeah, there's a lot to their love story. I'm a big fan. I'm an Amanda fan. Yeah, they were. Her mom raised him. They basically adopted him, found him, and took care of him when he was, a teen. He was young.
Yeah.
So they've known each other a long time. But romance blossomed once he became an X-Men. It became a thing, and they've been on a few dates, and they seem to be interrupted by Sentinels and Arcade and the like.
That's gonna happen.
Her mother was a magic user and obviously trained Amanda in a couple of things. But really was not any biological relation to Nightcrawler.
Right. Okay. But still, a little, I mean, it's fine. But
it's not Game of Thrones.
It got the squiggies a little bit.
It's not Game of Thrones. It's it's more Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Which is perfect for the X-Men.
Exactly what Kurt's saying. The Fantastic Four issue was 264. So right about where you were saying. 260.
Yeah, I think you were right. I think I might have read a couple issues before that, but I think they're still in Connecticut. But yeah. Now I want to go back and read the rest of those.
You know what, Ryan? I think you're right. It was Arcade. The Ben Grimm trench coat is definitely a fashion in X-Men. Todd says Claremont did a great job with Nightcrawler's characterization during this period. I really enjoyed the relationship with Amanda. I agree with that.
I'm with you.
In classic X-Men, Wolverine dares Kurt to start going in public without any illusion disguise or any costume. Yeah, that's not a good call. Chet says, Adam, great read on that classic. No comment about Arcade. All right. Go ahead.
I thought Chet was going to say something.
What is up, Simon? I need to hang again soon, man. If you're doing another one of the shows, let me know, my brother. I'm at 30,000 comics scanned. I still have 5 short boxes left, so definitely going to make the time to hang out with you soon, man. Justin, we did this issue. We're this page. Let's move on to the next one here. Sorry. We've got the continuing battle here, but thankfully Amanda goes full magic mode, protects them, and then Blob comes falling down and slams down on them, and then says, "Look, I got your girlfriend. Give up or I'll snap her neck." And Nightcrawler's like, "Okay, let her go." And he's like, "Nope, I lied. I grabbed you too. Haha. Now I got both of you."
The old switcheroo. Oldest trick in the book.
Fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
Yeah.
And he's about to deal with them, and then Storm shows up and drops her luggage and attacks with lightning. Justin, did you remember that Amanda had magic abilities, or were you like, holy crap, Amanda can take care of herself?
Yes, no, I knew she had like abilities and like she was a sorceress to some level. I didn't remember how like skilled she was or whatever, but I knew she had some tricks up her sleeve.
She has some
And and I was always wondering like when we were going to see something, or I guess have her in a situation where she needs to do. So this was perfect timing for it, and she looks awesome there in this set of panels up here. Her eyes like kind of like
the way the yellow
eyes,
so cool.
Yeah. And she even says like, this is one of the first spells that her mom taught her was to protect herself against fire elements. So I like that we get a little glimpse into a little bit more on what she knows and where she picked it up and everything else for that character specifically. And then I love this panel here. Yeah, getting the big Thum.
That's what Candace is saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's totally
So
love a good Thum panel.
The lettering, the motion between everybody, and like the coloring, like it's just like the yellows and pinks and everything, just like it's really well done. And then for him to snatch them both like that, looks really cool on the next page.
Tom Warzikowski, right on that film there, probably.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he was the letter. I mean, I guess I don't know if they
when lettering typically is done like that, it may be the artist that ends up drawing it.
Maybe I can't. I always it's always hard to know.
Right.
But yeah.
Now I will say, Scott, these 2 pages for me, JRJR nails it.
Yeah.
Like I love the faces.
It's like he's having fun. He's having fun now.
And I think the action seems to play to his talents. Is that how you take his work?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think like and it's possible too that like I've definitely done stories where I'll just start on where I think it'd be the most fun to start. So I wouldn't even be surprised if like he drew the battle and then he was like, then I'll do these other things. And then
I'll go back later and
maybe that's when the deadline hit.
Stuff.
Yeah, maybe the deadline hit then. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, it's probably more common that they would do it in order, but who knows? But yeah, these look great. And maybe he just like got warmed up. Maybe like this is like Wednesday's, 2 pages that he's trying to knock out.
Right.
And he's like finally warmed up in the weekend. Like,
for sure.
Hard to know.
he spent all his time on these, and then at the last minute, he's like, "Oh crap, I gotta still draw those other ones," and he like rushed on the old, the ones that we were talking about earlier.
Damien makes a good point. Which inker?
Yeah, there's 2 inkers on this issue. So
so I don't know how that works out. That's fantastic. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
Brett Breeding
sign the pages. They should sign them.
This looks like I want to hope that's Wyatt Chick. And maybe the breeding is these, because the next page is a great example of where it falls off the table.
This one, I had to include Hector Hammond from the horrible Green Lantern movie because there's some big domes. There's some big.
Wait, to be fair though, Destiny has a big dome. Destiny has a big dome.
Destiny has an egg-shaped helmet. I will agree. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but.
The Kitty Pryde one, there's no excuse, right? No excuse. But in the story, Destiny is trying to predict what characters will do, but of course things are happening very quickly, and she's having a hard time adapting to what's going on. Meanwhile, Kitty Pryde's gone to the Baxter building. She's broken in. The robot catches her, but we know that when Kitty Pryde phases through electronics, she can damage the electronics, and then when she does that to the Fantastic Four's robot, she's able to recover. But it impacts her enough that she's slowed down enough that Kitty can get through to where she needs to go. Then the robot, of course, turns on the alarm and makes sure that she alerts the system to try to catch Kitty inside. Lots going on here, lots of things going on, but that big Kitty Pryde dome, Scott, I don't know what happened there.
I'm sympathetic again. I try to be gentle with artists. I know what it's like, but
I'm not going to hurt his career. I think he's done fine. He's done fine.
Yeah, he's fine. It's fine.
No harm to JRJR to criticize one panel.
I understand, is what I would say.
Okay,
but yeah,
I mean, I love this Destiny drawing right here with the same upper perspective.
Yeah, it
works for her costume and the lighting, of course, and the coloring works really well.
Was there a I'm sure this is out there somewhere, but was there a person who Kitty was modeled on? Because that was pretty common. You have like different actresses at the time.
This issue contains questions from the fans, and that is one of the questions in the back of this issue.
Okay, but I looked at the letters page, and I noted one in specific, but
they evade the question because this week's questions are answered by Angel, and he's useless.
See, I started to read it, and when I saw Angel, I stopped reading it.
Wow.
Screw that guy.
I don't need it.
Screw that guy.
What a little rich boy.
Justin, I don't know how much Fantastic Four you've read. I don't know. I love the Baxter Building, and I think it's almost a character in that universe. And having the robot at receptionist, the whole thing, I love it.
Yeah, so I gotten pretty familiar with it right off the bat when I read Daredevil issue #2,
Oh yeah.
With Electro, and like that was my first glimpse into like even getting an understanding of all the craziness that can go on in that place.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah, definitely some familiarity with it. But yeah, I love that we get to see Kitty, her abilities. Like just again, we saw it before with the taxi. She's floating through again, paying off the guy. But even like I know, like she's got the big forehead in the one scene, but 2 panels next to it, I do like that. Her going through the elevator there.
Yeah.
Drawn out, and and then between that and then her actually floating up. We always talked about like the particles that she can like walk on to go through things. I feel like we haven't really seen that since probably the Dark Phoenix saga, like her using some of these abilities. So
I think it's an often overlooked part of her ability that phasing up and down through floors implies levitation, right? It implies an ability to control her body's ability to move on molecules when in that phased state.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is huge, and obviously plays a part later. But like, just
or
like,
does it?
Right. But seeing some of this, and I always think to like, and again with Kitty, like, the beginning of this issue and even some of the like last issue, she's like, not thinking that she could do anything in the battle, or in the fight or whatever. But I mean, we've seen her, put in some crazy work with even some of the current Hickman stuff. But I just like that, here's her still innocent, discovering these abilities and just using to her knowledge what she can use. The robot thing, which I know you see her jumping through it there, kind of taking that out as well. So I like that that they always kind of highlight that anytime Kitty does something with electronics. So
I mean, I first noticed the Baxter Building in issues like the Paper Bag Spider-Man and things like that. Whenever Spidey would show up at the Baxter Building, so they didn't really have this robot at that time. So this was a little bit new to me. Scott, how familiar? I mean, clearly you've read a lot of the Byrne issue and stuff.
Yeah, I don't really remember because I read some of the later Byrne stuff, but like I don't recall this robot character. I think actually in that era, I probably read more of the Simonson stuff because I went through a phase of really buying a lot of the.
And they've had several different automated robotic kind of front entrance stuff. Even the Old Man Quill storyline, which the Baxter Building plays into that in a huge way. The AI that runs the building, even when it's demolished, is phenomenal and plays a great part in that story. So I've always really liked the building as a sort of character.
Yeah,
it's the danger room of the Fantastic Four. It's like partly alive and yet not, and yet machine.
Yeah, it's the most like hardcore sci-fi thing about Marvel because it's just like there's this super science building in the middle of New York with these 4 freaks running around in it.
Exactly.
And they're magical children.
Yeah,
it's like
I love that they gave her glasses too, Bobby, because there's no logic to it, right? It humanizes her. Clearly, it's just to humanize her, right?
Yeah.
It would have been funny if it was like a Ron Swanson robot, where
big old mustache,
right?
He's making a steak. If you want some steak, I don't have a ton of great recommendations. I know the John Byrne and Jonathan Hickman runs are kind of the iconic ones for a lot of people. Of course, you could start with the Lee and Kirby stuff, the original kind of things. But I know the Byrne run and the Hickman run are both iconic. I have yet to read more than a handful of issues of either. I will say.
Yeah, I want to get into the Byrne stuff.
I think probably the original 10 issues I've probably read. That's about
I collected the whole Byrne FF, and I just haven't read it yet. But that was like,
you mean in single issues?
Years. Yeah, single issues. Yeah.
Holy cow!
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, and they're all newsstand. It was just newsstand. That was my goal.
Wow.
Who did you rob?
You need a DLZ.
This is before I got into X-Men. This was like one of my first goals. That and Daredevil. So I have to read it though. I haven't read any of it yet.
I'm a big FF fan. I would second the Hickman one especially.
Oh yeah, I've always heard great things about the Hickman one.
But I will also say though the current run that Ryan North is writing with Iban Coelho, I think is the main artist. They have a couple different artists. Yeah. It's really fun and it's pretty accessible. there's like, I mean, they're just as convoluted a history as any, long running superhero book, but like, I think it's pretty accessible, and Ryan North does these often like 1, 2, maybe 3 issue arcs.
Keeping it tighter.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily feel like you're in for this long haul that doesn't pay off like issue. And there's like an overarching thing going on, but it's been really good.
Did they just restart it? Is that what you're referring to? Isn't it like only a couple, like 6 issues in or something like that?
They're 12 in. The 12th one just came out.
Is it the Alex Ross covers? Is it that?
Yeah, those.
Series? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I picked some up just because of the Alex Ross.
Yeah,
covers,
the covers have been awesome. This last week's cover was amazing because they're in this world where dinosaurs evolved to rule the Earth, but there are dinosaur like Avengers and dinosaur FF, and so there's a dinosaur Doctor Doom with regular Doctor Doom riding on the dinosaur Doctor Doom.
Is this like their version of the Jurassic Justice League?
Well, kind of. It's like Ryan. Yeah, it's basically like they swap worlds, and then both of the Dooms want to like take over. Obviously, it's like, I mean, that's probably my favorite thing about the Fantastic Four is just Doom. It's just one of the great villains of
nice.
all time. So.
I'll give it a shot, Scott. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I'll check it out.
Nice. Well, Kitty, let's get back to Kitty here. Get back to the fight. I really blew up these panels because for me, again, back to the action sequences. I mean, I love the Wolverine jumping with the Destiny like hovering in the background as if like she's just trying to use her power to supervise the whole thing. I love the Nightcrawler Bamf fight. I love the rain, and of course that shot of Storm flying in, looking so cool, even with her torn cape. These are the panels that nail this book for me, Justin. I don't know about you, but like this is almost like cover worthy stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like this one right here gets my attention every time. I had taken a screenshot of it. I remember when I was reading the first time around, I wanted to like post about it. I haven't done it yet, but yeah, this just I love everything about it. The detail that's in it. Destiny's, floating in the background as part of like the sky almost. Like
which people could really totally miss, like if they weren't looking closely. That absolutely. She's like the sun with the blue sky in the background.
Yeah,
I love it.
And look at Storm up there, like her arm, her wing, like wings almost, of the energy that's coming out of her. Like it's so cool. And then I love the other one, the other Storm one where her hands are up here. I also appreciate that they still have the torn cape from Wolverine in the very beginning. I was
continuity.
Like I look for little stuff like that. So I appreciate that they kept that going. And then Pyro looks really cool too, like the close up of him, the rain that's coming down on him,
which people don't say often, but it's good to at least have it happen. Scott, any thoughts here? Obviously, I think the artwork is really on point here.
Oh yeah, this is great. Yeah, again, he definitely like Romita Jr. in these action sequences is crushing it. Like and like because the compositions, like you can definitely credit him with that because the compositions, especially that Wolverine bouncing off blob there, that's kind of like down in the lower left. That just looks awesome.
Absolutely.
One thing to add here too that that stood out, this panel right next to us here. I like that it talks about Destiny's like her abilities. Yes, she's able to, essentially predict, certain levels of what could come next. But they do make a good point that even though she can do that, it doesn't necessarily help her in the moment when someone as quick as Nightcrawler can come in and punch. Like, she could say, oh, he's on your left. Now he's on your right. Now he's on your left. But he's like already swinging and hitting Avalanche. So it's like, for anyone who would think like, oh, she could just predict every fight. Like, yes, she can, but only to like the second, and that doesn't help somebody.
It's an ever-changing challenge for sure.
Right? So I just appreciate that they kind of highlight that in this, in a book, and again, as especially if like young readers or someone new to these characters are trying to get an understanding of how far do these powers go and what they're able to do. I appreciate that they kind of break that down.
Yeah.
Some great comments in the chat here. Todd Christian's mentioning the Mark Waid run of FF.
Yeah, that was great.
One with Dr. Doom being a big part of it.
Mike Waringo draws a lot of that, and that was some great Waringo stuff. It's before he passed.
Chet's never said this before, so I want to mention that he's proud of Justin.
Congratulations!
Proud.
Thanks, Chad. They're not 9 signed by Stan Lee, but it's
all signed by Byrne.
Yeah.
First FF for Jackson was 155, so that's his favorite time period, 155 to 200. Everyone loves Byrne, which was 126 to 170 ish. So there's some good options for Candace. And Bobby loves the Blob squat. Always entertaining when Blob crashes down on people, punches them with his belly. I think you could totally miss Destiny in that upper panel. Absolutely. Not on you, because it looks like the sky in the background and the sun in the sky, right?
Yeah.
But let's continue on here to Kitty Pryde, who is basically like, sweet, I got the thing I need. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna go up to the roof. The alarm's going off, and I'm gonna escape. And then she seems to just fall. And that's not really what we expected.
This is the robot's fault. This is the robot's fault because she sets the alarm. They show her do that earlier.
But I don't know what hits her or knocks her down that makes her fall. She should be able to levitate, right? She should be able to bring herself down, phase. But if she phases, does she drop the object? I don't know.
No, she gets distracted. It says like, oh, what's that noise? This widget. Yeah, like it was turned on by that darn robot. I don't know.
For those that are big comic book movie fans, I love The History of Violence. It's a great movie. That's William Hurt's comment. One of his best lines is, "How do you fuck that up? Like, how do you do that? How do you mess that up?" It's a great line. I bleeped him though.
I mean, doesn't she have to figure out how to be both like ethereal but still like hold the thing though to float down? Like that does
really she needs more danger room work. Really saying. Right? Big problem. Chet says now you got to go read Hulk Annual 7 if you really want to impress him. That's the next phase. So Scott, Kitty Pryde was able to break in and steal stuff from the FF, but couldn't quite clinch it at the end there and kind of just crashes.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a bummer. It's just a bummer. I will say this page specifically also made me really miss thought bubbles, because I think we kind of like don't have thought bubbles as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just like covered in thought bubbles. Like now they would be capture boxes. Right. But I think there's something about when it's like the thought bubble where you're like really are being directed that you're in their head like that, and her like self-doubt and everything. I just really like that.
Justin, any thoughts here? Because I see her going off the side of the building. I'm like, she'll be fine. She'll just levitate herself down. But obviously, that's not going to be the case at the end of this issue.
That definitely had me though. Like when I finished this part of the story, I'm like, oh, okay, like because it goes into the next thing, and I'm like, oh, like we'll see what how she gets out of that one. Just it's comics, it's cartoons. We'll see how they get out of it. But then the thing I want to highlight, right. The thing I want to highlight though is I love that this captures more of who she is, where she's going back and forth with feeling bad about stealing this machine from Fantastic Four, and she's like saying, oh, I'll babysit their kid, like like she's genuinely like kind of thinking of things that she could say, because she's like, what do I say to this? How would I feel if they broke into my house? And like she just genuinely cares, which I just appreciate, and like that they spent that time with her thought, her own thoughts to kind of give you that sense of again who she is, a reminder of who she is, and that she feels bad, but she knows it's for a good cause. She's trying to save somebody.
Yeah, I'm a super rule follower, so I probably would have been exactly that way. Like, I don't know what I'm
questioning yourself the whole time.
Should I do this? What? The Rock guy is gonna get mad at me.
Yeah.
I love this. Is this Kitty's 5th costume? I think that's underselling the number of costumes that she's had side quests, probably by a factor of like 20. But yes, another new costume for Kitty. Although she was kind of out on a night out, it wasn't really like she was like in costume for battle. I mean, I don't know. Candace is like, great, now I've got a million things to read. I mean, it's just it's the life of a comic book fan.
Never ends, right? It never ends.
And what I always tell myself is it just means there's good stuff to look forward to at some point.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like I've never read the Hickman era of Fantastic Four, but I've got one of the complete collection soft covers, and I know that I'll enjoy it at some point when I can take the time to really dive in. But it's sitting there. Every once in a while, I might buy 2 copies because I forget I got one, but it's there. It's ready for me.
And I did that for the first time recently. I bought a copy of New Gods, and I was like, oh, I already have this. What the hell's wrong?
Going through and scanning all this collection, I've been defining the doubles a lot. Like I have 2 copies of All Star Superman, Grant Morrison, those volumes. So
you can send that to me if you want. I'll just, like I said, it's my favorite.
If you want one, I
have it already. I'm just saying, like I could. Okay. I mean, if someone else doesn't have it, you should give it to them. You should give it to them.
I've added it to my giveaway boxes. So
nice. Okay.
But like it's impressive, like the things that are out there that we'll get to read that we just have to look forward to,
I have the same conversation with myself with Lego, with all that boxes I have next to me that I haven't yet built, but one day it'll be there for me. To
you tell me Saturday morning or Sunday morning, man. I'll be there this weekend.
This guy, I'm waiting.
I got the time. Or Friday.
Oh,
nice. Is that Slave 1?
We could do Friday, John. We could
Friday. I need to get started on a couple of these.
We'll talk.
Charlie's got the house from Up. She's ready to build.
Nice. Scott, you around Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be around.
See, Candace is ready. There we're talking. We've derailed to Legos, but that's okay.
Could be good.
Yeah. We're going to leave Kitty Pryde fall into her death and instead jump to the Blob and Avalanche as they are battling with Wolverine. Wolverine utilizing Avalanche and Nightcrawler's trick against them. Nightcrawler bamfs Avalanche in time to make him mistakenly move Earth against his own teammate. Smart. And Blob gets captured. Wolverine jumps on top and says, hey, I'll pop these claws whenever you want. Get you some adamantium to the dome if you're ready. And of course, Blob laughs. He's like, no, I'm fine, Cat, giving up. This wasn't our plan. Our plan was to distract you because we had something else up our sleeve. Firstly, I love that our team dispatches them quickly. That Blob laugh kind of is beautifully disturbing for me, Scott. I don't know how you felt about the Blob laughing.
Yeah, it's almost as disturbing as the GIF that you put in there, but
Jackson agrees.
It's pretty, it was pretty disturbing. And also, I mean, I love that they use that against him in that way of like, once the Blob is not on his feet, he's the most useless.
You knock him over, he's like a turtle on his back.
Yeah, like that's it. You're done.
Yeah,
you got which is hard to do though. So to be fair, like.
Right. Justin, any thoughts here on how this was just all a big distraction? Were you like, oh, that's a good twist?
Yeah, no, I was very much into the story at this point, like trying to figure out what was going on and what the catch was with everything else. One thing I have to throw in here, and it's actually it's a couple pages back. Do you mind going back like two? I think it's one or two
slides back.
One or two. Yeah, it's maybe one more.
He's like, I gotta go all the way back to the beginning.
So the reason I meant to highlight this, it's actually, you know what it is? It's technically split. So it's this panel, but it's the one actually even prior to this slide.
Oh my, how far back do I gotta go?
I know. This just made me click on everything else. I forgot that at one point. So the last panel on this page, or on this slide, Blob is yelling. This was just so big because there was these little connections here, but Blob is yelling to Destiny, saying, "Why didn't you tell us earlier about the team showing up or whatever?" And then when it flashes to the next slide and it has Destiny, her thought bubbles there talk about saving Nightcrawler.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This was so big. I meant to bring it up earlier, but it still kind of ties into the panels that we're on now. But I just wanted to highlight that because we learned a little bit from last issue about what was going on with Rogue and Mystique and her feeling, or Mystique's waking up from her, the whole thing with Arcade and everything else. She feels a certain way about Nightcrawler. We still don't know why or what exactly if. Meanwhile, Nightcrawler asking all these questions about who his family is and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it all just tied together. So I just wanted to highlight that moment because it really was
the
significant,
setup, right?
Big time. There's so much in this issue altogether.
What's up, Jason, the Southern Comic Geek? He's disturbed by that GIF as well.
Nice.
He says, Jar, not my favorite X-Men artist, but these are great stories. One can only hope we exit the Krakoa era that we can get back to stories like this. There you
go. Okay, you can go back to your main slide here.
So we got the Blob, and we cut to the mansion. In the mansion, Xavier's struggling with this problem with his powers. They're being blocked for some reason, and then he realizes, wait, I've felt this disturbance in the Force once before, and is slow to realize that that's not Rogue, that's Mystique. She blasts him. He dodges just in time to get an injury versus not like a death wound. Rogue comes in to see herself standing over the body of Xavier, realizes that it's her adoptive mom, and they have a bit of a parenting discussion here. I had to throw some Schitt's Creek in with her saying, okay, I just remembered that being a mother is not your strong suit. Obviously, I think Mystique is in her own feelings here in a big way and is unwilling to accept that her daughter would choose a life with the X-Men over her life that she's chosen, and instead believes that Xavier has, mind melded her in some way. I guess the question has to be, Justin, is it possible that Xavier mind melded her? Do you believe that Rogue has been harmed by Xavier in some way, or is it just the usual trauma that he sends to offer?
No, I don't think so. I mean, so I love this whole. I mean, this ending is almost perfect. Like I didn't see any of this. I really didn't see this coming. Like I was so caught up in the rest of the action that I didn't even think oh yeah, what's happening with Professor X? The whole thing with Rogue, it's genius, to just have this come in. And I really like that they have this really a deep conversation, and one that was needed. Clearly, is just two people that need to learn to communicate better. That Rogue really gives it to her too, to say look, I want to be able to make choices of my own, and right now you're not letting me. And I'm trying to, she wants to be normal. She wants to figure out how she can live with her abilities at least, and she feels that. She's like, can you help me? You can't. So here I am. I'm at my back's against the wall. I'm going to somebody who I think might be able to help me here. And for you to belittle me or think that I'm not capable of making my own decisions. Right. And you're just anyone I join, you're just going to assume that I'm just being mind melded into being with them or whatever. Do you really look at me like that? She makes some really good points to Mystique, and I just think this back and forth between the two of them at the end of this issue. Perfect. Yeah. It was really, really well done and a heavy read.
What's up, X-Men Mike in the chat? What's going, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
Yeah. As he falls over, that photo of Scott and Matt, he falls out onto the floor. Super awkward. Jason says it was Rogue kissing Rom that led her to being good and later joining the X-Men. I mean, kissing robots will do that to you, right, Scott?
That's right.
Yeah. We'll get that in the Omnibus soon, right? The Omnibus.
As much as some of these drawings of Mystique are super creepy, I really dig the way JR does Mystique in these pages. I don't know how your feelings are on that, Scott.
Mm-hmm. No, I think he nailed it with the way he's depicting her, especially she's a little sort of pointier, she has very prominent cheekbone. She's just looks
sharper features.
Yeah, so she's kind of she's sexy but scary at the same time. Obviously having a skull in the middle of your head will do that too. But yeah, they execute that great. And like you were saying, the conversation with her and Rogue, it's pretty moving, pretty powerful, and does kind of bring maybe some doubt into your mind, would Xavier? Because Rogue had some issue. I mean, also Rogue absorbing people's thoughts through her powers. If Xavier is trying to remedy that, he does probably have to tinker in her brain, and he's tinkered in other people's brains. He's tinkered in Jean's brain. He's tinkered in brains.
The only thing that made me think I was more certain that he's not doing it is he even said to Storm and Wolverine when they're oh, should we bring Rogue? He's I don't know, it might not be a good idea. He doesn't have any full, he doesn't have any real clue as to how
true.
Easily she could move one way or the other. Right. And and I mean, obviously, we hope to trust him because he's a good guy. But generally, but you guys are right. He totally could, there's that possibility.
What also just the inadvertent nature of that too, where maybe he's not doing anything consciously malicious, but perhaps he is susceptible to hubris and does he tweaks a synapse the wrong way or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know, however it works.
Could be the littlest thing.
Yeah. So it's not unreasonable for Mystique to kind of if she really loves her daughter, to be really concerned about that.
So, and she's clearly someone who has manipulated Rogue herself. So there's a bit of projection going on here. As we go to the next page and kind of see this continue. I love these drawings of Rogue and Mystique. I mean, these are some of my favorite Mystique drawings in the last few issues. Just really the facial expressions are so strong. And you see Rogue basically saying, look, I've got this killer body and nobody can touch it. Like, I'm wasted. You need to let me figure this out. That's basically what she's saying. I may be summarizing.
Your editorial.
Yeah, I might be just a smidge. And I think it's powerful that her mom at least recognizes there's some truth here. So then she uses some device that we don't really see to project herself to the big battle that the X-Men were having with the Brotherhood, and basically say, look, I will make you a deal. I won't kill Xavier, and you let my guys go, and we'll call this fair. I like Amanda, who's like, this slime wouldn't be gloating if Mother had taught me her death spells. That might be my favorite line in the issue, is that look from Amanda as like, we don't let them walk away from this.
I just fall more in love with Amanda with that line.
Right? That line slays for me. So good. Yes. So Scott, what are your thoughts here on the bargain that Mystique throws out there and how they seem to agree to it?
I mean, it makes sense. If you're just trying to preserve life, this is how you do it, I guess.
Right.
Everybody goes home, even Pyro.
Yeah, right.
Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see the Blob get away.
Nor the Blob, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, I kind of have a soft spot for the Blob. I feel like the Blob was a bastion of body positivity before that was even really on our radar as something we should care about, and I think we should celebrate him for that. I think it makes sense. Yeah, like you get out of here, we'll get out of here. We're not even like totally sure like what your deal is all the time. Like you kind of have weird schemes.
And obviously the team isn't fully aware of where the state that Colossus and Kitty are in. They're not aware that Colossus is basically like seemingly dead. And
did anybody say where's Colossus? What?
Nobody's asking. Nobody's asking.
That's really
out of sight, out of mind.
Sucks for Colossus.
Yeah.
Right.
Kitty's trying. she's trying to.
But she's just like running away, like Mr. Beaning it around the Baxter building.
Right. I agree with you, Mike. Professor X is shady for sure. Mystique has some cheekbones on fleek for sure.
Oh yeah,
she's working it.
Totally.
This might be the quote of the night as well. I got this killer body. Honey, that's mine. I like all of it.
They all have killer bodies.
Yeah, they're X-Men.
Nobody's drawing regular Joes like this.
Justin, what are your thoughts here on the big ultimatum that Mystique throws out here?
Yeah, so I like that. I mean, she's playing all her cards of what she has left, and clearly now that she's realized, okay, this is a mistake. We did all this for what we thought. We were rescuing you. You don't need it. Well, what do I do with all this power now? All right, I guess I'll make sure my people go free. Essentially. Right. Which I do. I like that. Blob is like, oh, she does take care of us. All right, she is a good team leader. So it wins the team over a little bit. Yeah. I thought you would have a Princess Leia gif here with help us over.
Yeah. Well, there was a previous Star Wars reference in this issue, wasn't there? Because somebody makes a comment about a guy in black breathing heavy. I think that was on like when they're in the danger room. I'll find it if you want to filibuster.
John, missed opportunities, man.
I was too busy just with like the questions I have about this deal, like Xavier or the Brotherhood of Evil. This feels like a win-win to me. Like you kill Xavier and we capture the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and then Rogue kicks your ass because how are you going to stop? What is your mutant ability going to do to stop Rogue right now? Like we catch everybody and we lose Xavier.
Yeah,
a lot of victories to celebrate here.
I mean, you're not wrong. By the way, love that storm panel there too in the middle there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really well done. So then we cut to the last panel. And,
oh man, so this is a key, right? This is a key issue.
The death of Kitty Pryde. Destiny says, "Trust me, you guys need to be worrying about your own house right now. We're gonna lay out of here. You guys go find your dead people.
Really thought she'd make it out of the 80s. I just didn't think that Kitty Pryde would.
Well, my whole feeling about this whole episode is like, who's watching the kid? Like, we're supposed to be babysitting the kid, and the kid is dead. The only person we were supposed to be watching is the one that died. Like,
what I want to know is who put the ketchup bottle under her when she fell?
She landed right on it. Yeah. That sriracha is not coming out. And then, of course, I included the letters page because as a joke this week, Claremont answered all the letters as if he were Angel. The letters were not great, but one of them was, "Hey, is Kitty Pryde based on a real person?" And then Angel answers like, "Wait, she's not a real person? I always thought she was real." And that's the end of that whole.
I clocked one of the letters actually. I put it in my notes. I wanted to point. So in the middle there, that's Colleen Doran wrote in. Colleen Doran, pretty notable comics artist. She did a independent book called Distant Soil. She's worked with Neil Gaiman a few times.
Wow, cool.
On some adaptations of like his short stories.
I love that.
And so she wrote in asking about the clipping of Angel's pin feathers in a previous issue. And she may have actually done work for Marvel at this point. I can't remember because she did in the 80s. I think she did like a Marvel Presents or something like that. She did a Moon Knight story or something.
Oh, that's
so I don't know if this is kind of like, hey, Colleen and John like knew each other maybe at the time. I don't know. It's possible, but like she does this whole rundown of why it's absurd that cutting his pin feathers would do anything to
the whole pin
and then grounded.
Angel replies saying, "Oh, you would not believe the arguments we had because I tried to tell them which feathers to trim and it was not the pin feathers."
Yeah, but I just thought it was cool because you see that a lot in the history of Marvel Comics letters pages. Is like these people that are going to be writing comics or other stuff like George R.R. Martin. You have different
which
people.
I have the Avengers issue he wrote. His letter was published in, which was like an early, like first 12 or something issues of Avengers. He's got an issue in there.
Frank Miller, all kinds of people write it. Yeah,
right.
So it's cool to see that in real time. I was kind of like scanning.
Damien agrees with you. Yeah. He's in it.
She's great. She was the first artist I met in person as a 10-year-old, and it was I didn't know what to. I was like showing her my sketchbook.
What a perfect
terrible
issue to have you read then.
I know. Yeah, I didn't even. That just occurred to me. Like, I was like, wait a minute. I went to a Comic-Con. Really, as not a little kid, but I was like, I said hi to her, and she was very nice. And I bought a comic that I had no idea what it was. But yeah, she's great. She's a great artist.
Hilarious. Yeah. I love Adam says Jean dies a lot, but then you just set an egg timer and she'll be back. I get it. Justin, shocking ending. What was your reaction to this final page?
Yeah, this definitely had me like, oh shit. Like I again, like you're so wrapped up in everything else and the heavy conversations going on, the character building, the relationships that are building between all these other characters. And then it flashes over to this. And again, just sprinkling more onto what I highlighted earlier with Destiny, and some of her other concerns with Nightcrawler and stuff like that. And then like for her to like kind of she points this stuff out. I just found that interesting. And of course, you get the police calling in, and then sure enough, you see this panel. Now I read this digitally the first time, so swiping it, it opens up big when you at that last that bottom half, and it definitely hits you. So, but yeah, like I definitely didn't see it coming. So,
I mean, you should. This is a key issue, like Scott was saying.
The death of Kitty Pryde. It goes for $5 of dollars.
Significant time. People are still hunting for this issue. All right. Well, let's get to the wrap up and grading portion. Justin, final thoughts. What grade would you give this issue 178?
Man, I have to say, I put some thought into this. I absolutely loved this issue. I feel like it had everything that I wanted in what we, I don't know, even haven't gotten in a while. I mean, and even like some of the headshot, you know, the big foreheads and things like that might have taken away from having like a perfect 10, but like the different layers of the characters, the relationship building, the way the you know, the ending of Rogue and Mystique and kind of where that was going, the little sprinkles of like mentioning of Yukio with Wolverine and you know, still continuing to kind of connect that stuff. Amanda Sefton, you know, coming out of her shell a little bit more and showing off some of her skills, her sorceress skills. I put this as like a 9.8, man. I love this. Yeah, like 9.6, 9.8, you know, like it's very, I know it's so high, but like
sure.
The fact that I was like turning each page, like wondering what was going to happen, and the fact that I got distracted with like all this other stuff just to not see what I, you know, not to, you know, the Kitty thing at the end was just like I didn't see that coming at all. So
sure.
There was
the long con that that Destiny and Mystique are playing here, right?
Yeah, like she's sitting there on the couch, like from the, well, we don't know exactly when the swap happened, but like you know, you see Rogue sitting on the couch. Essentially, it's like this whole, you know, now that you look back, you're like, well, when did they do the swap? You know, and that's crazy. Like Mystique had this whole big plan the entire time. Like to me, this could have been a movie. Like this is like movie like I really, this one hit home for me. So yeah, loved it. Yeah.
Scott, how about you?
Yeah, I think the same, like 9.6, solid 9. I mean, it's this is a great example of like Bronze Age, perpetual second act storytelling. I think like it does resolve because, you know, it reaches this climax with this great battle, and then you have like the face off, and Mystique's like, you know, I'll kill him if you don't let my people go, and then they do, but then you got to be back next month because Kitty's dead.
Yeah,
right.
And we got to know what that's about.
You're hooked.
Hooked. So it's perfect. Like, you know, it's exactly what like 10-year-old me, you know, wanted to, like, I have to get this next issue. Oh my God.
Yeah. Sure.
Yep.
Some grades in the chat. We got Chet saying 9.4. Bobby saying 9.0. I'm probably going to split the difference. I'm in a 9.2 range, I think, on this one.
Yeah.
The flaws were minor. They're fun to make fun of and joke about. Yeah. But what this issue does well is, I think this is my Destiny Mystique combo that I want more of. I like the way they team up. I like their plans and their scheming, and I love that it always comes from a place of emotion. They're very emotion-driven characters, and you can see what's really eating away at Mystique and the things that are frustrating her. So I love that stuff. So that's the stuff that really pushes from the buttons for me. Yeah. The action sequences, so beautifully drawn. I would love more Storm, but it's not a Storm issue. She was not the prominent feed for this one. This was definitely a Kitty issue and a Mystique Rogue issue, and I get it. Those ladies really slay. And I think this is the thing I've always taken away from X-Men is, in general, when the female characters have something prominent to do, it's always going to be a great issue, because I think Claremont just had a way with creating dynamic heroines, and I think they really shine. I got a 9-ish. That's not acceptable. You gotta pick the honeymoon, because of the honeymoon. Yeah, the honeymoon pick alone deserves a little bump.
I got a 9-ish.
It does highlight the relationship between Scott and Charles in a whole new way that you didn't fully understand.
Yeah, that was just for that. That's why I think I gave it that like plus 0.2. Just like,
bumps it up a little.
What's happening?
Yeah.
What's going on?
You feel way too comfortable with your teacher.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I mean, this issue even had, you know, the 6-pack of beer. You know,
it did.
Oh yeah,
you know, drinking and smoking in the danger room.
Yeah.
Side Quest giving it the 9.0. I appreciate that. I've moved on to the finance stuff, and as always, I keep forgetting to remove my branding. I'm sorry about that, gang. Scroll all the way back to the top here.
See, it is worth more than I thought.
So there's nothing to hide there, I guess. There's no sold. There are 3 9.9s. They've never been sold.
That's because Chet doesn't sell his.
Why would you want to give up the death of Kitty Pryde?
Chet is holding on to all 3 9.9s. Yeah.
There's about an $85 fair market value for a 9.8 of this book. It does not drop off to a 9.6 by half like we usually see. It's more $60. So, you know, that differential is still there. I do think there's not as many key issues for this book, but I mentioned that it obviously continues the discussion around Rogue and Mystique and their relationship. And does Professor Xavier tinker with minds of his X-Men? It definitely raises that concern from the enemy's side that they believe that this is truly something that might happen and that Xavier might do. And then, of course, 3 X-Men dead or in peril at the end of this issue. Lots of things to worry about maybe happening here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Colossus is still frozen.
yeah, that's true.
We got 3:
Oh,
Xavier,
yeah.
Colossus,
Dang,
and Kitty.
right?
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
I know. I was trying to like go through. I was like assessing in my brain, like, oh yeah, Colossus just he's just doing this the whole time.
Right. Okay, fine. So 9-2. Is everybody happy? Don't let us guilt you into anything. You
grade your own grade.
Right. Any thoughts here on the finance stuff? Are we ready to wrap up? What's everybody feeling?
Yeah, I just want to add, like, last season 170 was like my absolute favorite issue from the from that omnibus, and I'm just gonna say it now. I know we're very early on in this omnibus this season, but this issue might be like that number one issue for me. So
mark it down in your books, put it in your journals and your diaries, folks.
That's why it's $85.
Yeah. I'm adding to cart right now.
Yeah, no good favorite.
Find that
I wouldn't want this. I wouldn't want this locked up in a CGC slab, though. I would want to. This has got to be a reader copy, always.
Which is what we talked about, I think, last week too. Was like,
true,
great.
It was good. It was such a good read. Yeah.
Do I want this just to be able to look at a grade and a cover, or is this a book you want to open and explore and interact with?
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
In that way, the omnibus is a phenomenal option for this one, right?
Very true.
All right, let me shut that down. Move us back to the trio again, because we're here now for the trivia portion of the show. This is when Scott has to put in the work, because here's the way this happens. We're going to be asking 4 questions about last week's show over on Justin's channel about issue 177. We're looking for the first 2 correct answers. You're going to get onto the raffling wheel for the end of the season. And the third answer, we're looking for somebody that entertains Scott. So Scott's going to get to pick 4 people to get on the wheel tonight. That's the fun of being the guest on the show. So he's gonna look for something that tickles his fancy. So your goal is, if you don't know the answer, which is fine, try to do something silly and funny in the chat, and let's see if Scott picks you, because we're going to end up getting 4 times 4 times 3, 12 people on the wheel tonight. 12 people get a chance to get in. Justin, you want to go first? Do you have your question at the ready?
Sure. All right. So my first question is, how does Mystique defeat Colossus in the beginning of last issue? Remember, we're talking 177 was last issue. Those opening scenes, she's walking through what seems to practically be a death trap for her of X-Men. And she defeats
room.
She defeats Colossus in a specific way. How does she do it? And I'll be open to how people put this answer into play, because you could describe it, I guess, in a couple different ways. But there's a couple key words I am looking for. So, how does Mystique defeat Colossus in the beginning of the issue? Good layup too, I think, for some comedy.
We'll see. Hopefully, some comedy can come out of that.
Yeah.
She defeats him supremely. That's one way to do it. And I agree, Sidebust. I do. Oh, sorry. Where is it? I do agree that these issues where the X-Men battle these classic villains are always a lot of fun, for sure. Let's see here. So, do you have any that you love yet, Justin?
I do, like, the one that I was looking for based on what the answer I had sent you, John.
Yeah.
I would say 1 right now.
I see one that seems close to what you had texted me. Jackson says she tells him that Kitty is dating Blob. I mean, that'll crush a guy.
That would, yes.
That will do it. She scared him to death with his own reflection.
Boo.
Traumatizing.
Yeah.
She told him that those underoos are out right now. You shouldn't be wearing them right now.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking for that. Look. Although Colossus, he can wear it. Like he's one of those guys.
He's had some interesting costumes.
He really has. I still think the boots work. I know that they're basically disco, stripper boots.
Specifically for that. If you are Colossus,
yes,
it's very pro wrestling too.
Yes, right, all the way to the knee with the giant flare at the top.
With the big flare thing. Yeah,
it's a look. He's making it work. He does have a absolutely 80s wrestler look. Like he's got
totally.
that that look nailed.
Yeah.
She told him Chris Hansen was coming to get
Oh God. Oh no. Oh God.
Pulls a can opener from her belt. Justin, are you willing to? I kind of feel like there's a second one that at least mentions the guy you were talking about.
Okay, yeah. That's so. Well, so the one I'm looking at, we'll say is Bobby. That was the one that I was.
Okay, because I saw this one.
I did not see that. Oh, I missed that. I totally missed that.
Okay,
I saw that one.
I thought Adam and Bobby got it.
Yes. Okay, my bad.
Okay.
I did not see Adams at first. So so give them to Adam and Bobby.
So Adam and Bobby got it. It has to do with the beam of Cyclops' power and the way that they utilize it. So
right before she strangles him, Cyclops.
Yes. So Bobby and Adam both get a point there. Was there a favorite comedic answer for Scott?
I think the thing that I laughed at was Jackson's. She tells him that Kitty's dating Blob now.
That's fair.
It's pretty good.
That's very fair. Jackson, who is always on our raffles, definitely excited now. You got your first entry, my man. Happy to have you on the wheel, sir.
Nice.
So last week we were talking about Nightcrawler's costume for his date, and there was a reference to a classic character from children's cartoons. And who were they comparing? In the chat specifically, the chat was comparing Nightcrawler's look to an 80s cartoon character.
Oh, interesting.
Who did Nightcrawler look like?
Wow, that's very specific to watching the show.
Oh, there's the first two answers nailing it.
Dang.
I will accept both San Diego that way and Santiago that way. Wow, the chat was ready for that one. Bobby Delgado and Candace both nailing it. It was me. They compared it to you. They looked like Candace.
It's good when you create the meme, then you know what it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Inspector Gadget. Magic Lasso saying Waldo because we didn't know where they was. Couldn't find him.
Do we have any
All right.
other?
I got two comedy answers so far. No, I said that. I'm just teasing you, Candace, because you're slaying it so far. You're tied for second place on the overall score here.
Nice. Michael Jackson.
If he'd done the lean, maybe I pick that. I think I'm gonna go with. Well, I don't know. Let me let people finish.
Okay.
Anybody else have any? I don't want to undercut anybody's jokes.
Nope, I think you're good.
We're good. Okay. I'll go with Inspector Gadget there, but Chet. I think that
holding on to his lead.
Nice. That was solid.
All right, Justin. Question number 3.
All right. Next question for me is, what was playing at the Lincoln Center that some of the X-Men were planning to attend?
Yeah, that's right.
Last issue, they were getting ready to go to this event. What were they going to see?
Was it Kitty Pryde? Oh, sorry. Was it Nightcrawler's makeout session by the fountain?
It was right before. Yeah,
it was like a public event, right? Everybody could come in and watch.
Everybody go watch
Nightcrawler make out with people. Yeah, sometimes you need to refresh your screen to get a little bit faster on the catch there, which is why we try to let the first 2 correct answers in.
Oh yeah, I just saw Eric put it in there. Eric, that could be used in a good comedy type way, put the correct answer 5 minutes after. 2
questions later. The correct answer to the one from 2 times ago.
That would have me laughing. So,
right.
They were going to see Cyclops shoot somebody through a mirror, but it's really a robot Cyclops.
Right. Yeah. All right. I don't see any correct answers yet. People are trying to think through what were they.
I'm trying to remember it too. Because I read that issue right before the one other
Or
one today.
just make a joke. What is up, Shop for Comics in the chat?
What's up, Shop?
Always good to see you, sir. And John Doom greets you. Huzzah! It's good to see you, sir. I hope you're doing well. Or just make a joke. What were the X-Men there to see? Just make a joke. They were there to see Terminator 2. Yeah.
I like it.
T2 is very entertaining. James Cameron. Always good to see James Cameron. They were there to see the all-nude musical Hair. Also called
with
Pubes.
Medusa.
They took Kitty to the Pussycat Theater.
Did you see Ryan's first comment up?
Did I miss one? They went to go see Natalie Needs a Nightie. I love alliteration, so you already sold me.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Someone did a knockoff game where the hell based on Dante.
That's good. I play that.
Phenomenal, Adam. That's hilarious. I see 0 correct answers.
Wow. All right.
Not a single correct
I
answer.
don't remember. I'm with the chat. I can't pull it out of my brain.
Dang.
We don't need a specific production, but they weren't there to see like typical theater. They were there to see something slightly different, and that's what they want. That's what we're looking for. It wasn't The Sound of Music. I mean, there was probably music involved.
I can give a hint. It was
I see a correct answer now, so we'll wait for the copy and paste.
Oh, okay.
Well, they went to see Hot Fuzz, which is a great movie. Like, it's a very entertaining movie. Do not question the Cornetto trilogy.
No. At all. Just rewatch Shaun of the Dead for Halloween. And
right?
It's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie.
Always a good choice.
Yeah.
So I see Royal Ballet and I see Russian Ballet. Can we stretch to let Bobby in there?
Yeah, we'll let Bobby in there. Ballet, I think, is a good enough.
That's what I figured you were looking for.
Yeah,
it was ballet.
Britain's renowned Royal Ballet was the full
UGG culture.
I love that band.
I can't believe it took this long for you to make this joke.
I
can't believe I'm disappointed.
Jokes.
Ryan, I've never been more disappointed.
That was so delayed, Ryan.
That he basically alley-ooped you this amazing pass to mention Diana Ross, and it took that long to get there.
Yeah, that was brutal.
What's up, son of a Bruce? Good to see you, sir. They went there to see Lila Cheney. Or hey, where's Dazzler? Where's the Disco Dazzler joke? No Disco Dazzler jokes.
Yeah.
I see Cats comedy. I appreciate that.
Man,
Scott, do you have a favorite comedic answer?
Oh boy, Diana Ross is pretty good. And Cats is pretty good. I'm gonna say, oh my gosh. Oh,
Natalie Needs a Nightie is still up there at the top. Dolly Parton and Slayer. I want to know.
That would be wild. Yeah. No, they're together. It's together. They're backing her up. They're backing her up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like when I saw Loretta Lynn backed up by Jack White. That was pretty sick. So it'd be even more.
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with.
Like, I was waiting for him.
I'm gonna go with. I gotta go with Diana Ross. I think. Yeah.
Oh wow! You're still gonna let him have it. Wow. All right.
It's pretty good. I just
the delay is what kills me. That's
disappointing. It's so disappointing.
5 minutes later,
right,
Ryan? Yeah,
disappointing.
We caught
him
off.
Last question of last Spider-Man the musical. All right, there you go. Last question of the night. In this arcade murder world event where Mystique is battling the X-Men, she defeats Wolverine. She defeats Colossus. She defeats Cyclops, and then she takes a break to do something before battling Storm. Well, what does Mystique take a break to do? She defeats all the guys and then takes a quick pause. I don't know why Storm lets her have the pause, but she does. What is she doing? Take a little break. Once you get all the boys out of the way, you can catch your breath, take a breather, prepare for the real battle. She makes a sandwich for Wolverine.
Well, we have somebody's in the lead for the community.
Nailed it.
Solid.
Nailed it.
Candace, you're right. Yeah, you could have said Rogers the musical. That would have
that
would have won my vote. for
I
funny.
could do this all day.
Yes,
Yeah.
love that musical.
The
Sorry, I don't wanna
correct
get,
answer is Adam. You are right.
Oh,
She
yeah,
goes and
that's
changes
right.
her costume.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Bobby remembers it too. Yeah, she changes. Wardrobe change.
quick wardrobe. Yep.
Costume change.
She learned it from Kitty. Yep.
Bobby coming in strong tonight, I gotta say. She gets a Gatorade. I mean, right? You gotta electrolytes are
Yes, you
important.
gotta you gotta freshen up.
Yeah.
She's
Not just
spending
water's
a
not
lot
enough.
of energy.
Yes,
Water's not
right.
enough.
She was sweating.
You're like 10 minutes too late, buddy.
Come on.
And then when she beat them all, she dumped more Gatorade on Blonde.
Right.
Like the
It's
big
awful
Gatorade thing. Like
yeah,
they
the
do with
nasty
coaches,
green
like-
one that
Yeah,
nobody
they-
likes.
yeah.
She
Yeah,
nobody
the
likes
green
that
one.
one on it. The green one that everybody passes on. Red Gatorade or nothing. Just saying.
I like Scott's humor answer. I think Scott should
Yeah,
give him a couple
We've never given a point to a guest before.
No, yeah. Sorry, Scott. We
No,
have
no,
a
no,
policy.
no.
You signed it before you came on.
Yeah.
You
I
can't
there's a
give
lot. There's a
yourself-
lot of paperwork. I was not
Yes,
expecting that much
yes.
paperwork before.
Yeah,
coming on
you
the show.
This is a phenomenal question, Scott, but they make the point that she changed it because this new costume allowed her to absorb the lightning from
Yeah.
Storm and channel it back.
Yeah.
But that is a great question.
Was it just a rubber suit? I mean,
I
what-
think it was. I mean, it looked like something that Dr. Evil would put his minions in.
Yeah.
Adds blush to those killer cheekbones. So, she uses the Suzanne Summers Thigh Master. I don't think she needs it. I don't think she needs it.
No, I think she's good. I think
Nope,
she's
sorry, let me
well.
pull
No,
up
but you have to
that.
maintain that. You got to maintain.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
keep
so-
it up.
Right.
So there's that new outfit. Doesn't she look like
Yeah.
she's going to head to Dr. Evil's volcano lair?
Yeah.
Killer.
That was a cool issue too. That like just
It was.
Mystique kicking ass.
Dude, I
Took
was
time to
the whole
drink a
time I was
beer.
like, what's happening? You know, like what's going on right here?
She did a danger room quickie break like Wolverine.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. It's good old
he's just Stone Cold Steve Austining 2 beers.
Right.
Yeah.
I drank a beer.
Flash.
I'll drink another beer.
I drank 2 beers. I drank 3 beers.
Oh.
All
All right.
I think
What is your pick here, Scott?
I think I am. There's been really good answers, like, but I think I'm gonna go with Gatorade because I just think I don't know. That made me laugh. Like,
Where are we at there?
heard she just
Who's
chilled
that?
out.
Son of a Bruce.
Son of a Bruce. Yeah, I believe.
Son of a Bruce with his first
That was good.
nomination here.
Nice.
First point on the board. You are now entered into the big giveaway.
Go
Thigh
Bruce.
Master was
Yeah.
very close, but I think Magic Lasso got some. entries. I think-
Trying to spread the wealth here, little Scott. I
yeah,
appreciate
that was. I just want to give props to
Nice.
it. It was pretty hilarious.
So we will be back on Justin's channel next week, issue 179. I'm sorry this is a longer show. Clearly a little distracted tonight. I'm enjoying the chat and having a good time.
I feel like
with
I
everybody.
make the episodes longer, and I don't know if that's.
It's probably because you're usually on Justin's channel. An hour and 45 is not common for me.
Okay.
It's not. I was gonna say I had a lot to say about this issue, so maybe that's partially why.
Okay.
Well,
There's
I
okay.
did make you go back 4 slides at one point.
That's
So-
I mean, at
true,
one point, I feel like, no, I'm not starting over. Gosh,
Yeah,
dang,
I'm like,
Justin,
John, we got to go to the very
get your crap together, man.
There's just so much.
But huge thank you to Scott. His
Yeah.
Instagram and
Thank you,
his
Scott.
YouTube are linked down below. And as he mentioned at the beginning of the show,
Yep.
he's got his very own comic book that he has now self-published. He is drawing it. He is writing it.
Yep.
And he's going to cons. You can catch him at conventions with his booths. So-
Probably local conventions if you're in the Portland area. But
So those Portland homies like Damien have a chance to get this book. But eventually, it'll be for sale somewhere digitally online. We can get copies of it ourselves. When that happens, you can be sure that my Instagram will be flooded with posts for that and links for that. So make sure that that's happening. But if you want to know for sure, you can follow Scott directly and get those things when he posts those links. Thank you, Scott.
and if you're interested, you can DM me and just ask if you're interested. So
I'm interested.
okay.
Yes, I am too, Scott.
Right
I just noticed that Eric's side quest, his answer just came in. It just made me laugh.
Make the sandwich classic.
It's just funny that it just came in now.
Yeah.
It's happening.
She pulls a
He's
Dagwood. It's just
he's refreshing his screen.
Yeah, he's a little behind. Yeah, a little bit.
I like the idea of it just turn into a Dagwood comic, but it's just Mystique as Dagwood making a
Yeah,
sandwich.
there you go.
Is that too old man for anybody? How many people get that joke in the chat?
Dagwood was in the newspapers when I read comics.
Okay, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm old enough for that to be real.
Yeah, we're old enough, but
So
Thanks,
thanks everybody
for
for
having me.
coming.
Yeah,
absolutely, Scott. You're always welcome, and we're happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Timed out well.
Anytime.
So, like I said, next week over on Justin's channel, his links are down below, so you can subscribe, hit that notification bell, and be live over there. Those of you that are in our chat, you just heard the whole issue. You'll be ready for those questions we ask at the end of next week's show, and we hope to see you all there. Have a great night, gang. We'll see you back again soon.
Happy Thanksgiving.